Well, hey friends, what's going on? My name is Zach Rizal, back with a brand new Marvel Snap video. Hope you're all doing so fantastic today. Welcome to the third installment of well, we need a name for this, don't we? The Tuccrr and Zhao card review for the brand new season, April Marvel Snap. Tuccrr, how are we doing today?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. We're gonna work on that name, and it's gonna get something that actually flows really well. But it is great to be back. Great here to be third time. You know, it's gonna be freaking fantastic. But yeah, I hope you guys are ready because we're about to cook.
We're about to talk about every single brand new card coming to Marvel Snap in the month of April. I believe it's called Zeros to Heroes. So it's going to be a super, super fun season, and some of these cards are actually insane. So stay tuned. But before we get into that, I am doing a giveaway on Twitter at ZalSnap. I'll leave it in the description down below. I'll leave the link down there. So all you have to do, it takes you 15 seconds, a couple steps. You have a chance to win a free season pass, the premium plus one too, the good one, the cool one. So make sure you guys go check that out. And with that being said, we got Baron Zemo. Let's go right into it. We got Baron Zemo. So he's a 3/5. Release date is on the first day of the season. This is going to be the season pass card. So if you win that season pass, you get this Baron Zemo. The ability, on reveal, recruit the lowest cost card from your opponent's deck to your side of this location. Tuccrr, what are we feeling about Baron Zemo?
So I think it's a very interesting card. I think we're bringing like a brand new archetype kind of to our deck over here. And I think that's why they changed Mantis this last season. I don't think he's anything crazy yet. I like him more at a 3/5 stat line than the 3/4 he was originally set at. But I think this is kind of a later turn card. So your opponent is pumping out all their 1s and 2s earlier on. Maybe they are playing Thanos and they're drawing their stones. So then it's less stones you have to draw later on. And I think it's a good card for Mockingbird. It's a good card for Surfer. Not entirely sure how to get crazy with it, but it brings milling into a better perspective.
Yeah, if we look at that card, first of all, it's a 3/5, right? Immediately we think Surfer. It can fit into Surfer, but I don't know if that's necessarily the best shell, right? So at a 3/5, and I also want to talk about this new term, this new keyword that we're looking at, right? Recruit. We've never seen that word before in a Marvel Snap card. You can basically say it's almost the exact same thing as Gladiator, as it brings a card out of the deck onto the field. Instead of destroying it, though, or not destroying it, this comes to your side. So I don't know how effective this card really is going to be. With Thanos being as popular as it still is right now, you're probably going to get a stone, right? You're probably going to get a stone that's going to come to your side. But hitting that Zabu, right? Or even if they have a Surfer, hitting that Surfer is mega value. And you really need those cards for that deck to work. And so I think there could be potential for this card. I'm not the most hot about it. But like I said, pulling that Zabu, pulling that Ravonna, Surfer, fantastic. Mill, we could see some mill action because we have Cable, you take a card. We have Moon Knight, you discard a card, and a couple different cards that mess with people's decks, and that could fit into this. Is that necessarily going to make Mill an archetype? I don't really think so. But I think we might have to do like a day one Baron Zemo like mill list on YouTube or something like that. But nonetheless, I think it's gonna be fun. I don't really know where he's gonna go though. I just don't really know yet. But like I said, season pass card, the 4th of April. What are we giving this rating wise, Tuccrr?
I think because they're so unknown, I might give it like a 2.5 out of 5. I think I'm more like right in the middle. I don't think he's a bad card, but I don't think he's a good card, kind of, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I completely agree. I just don't really know. You know, there a lot more often than not when a card comes out, you're never gonna see a Baron Zemo deck. You know what I mean? Just like how we didn't see a Sebastian Shaw deck. It just kind of plugged into a certain thing. And I think that's where we could see this. Like I said, I do like the Mockingbird synergy and anything like that. I'm also gonna give probably like a 2. I might even give it a 2. That might be the lowest rating we've ever had here. A 2, maybe like a 2.5. I don't really see where we can go with this card yet. But nonetheless, I'm still super, super excited. But I could say the exact opposite for the card that we're about to get into right now. We have Red Hulk. Now on to the card that I think I am the most excited for, plus not to mention, this variant of Red Hulk is insane. But Red Hulk, right? So we got 6/11 Red Hulk ability. When your opponent ends a turn with unspent energy, +4 power in hand or in play. So basically, well, kind of the same exact thing as Evolved Hulk, but it's 4 instead of 2, and it can be in your hand or in play, which is super, super good and could potentially be super, super sneaky. This comes out the same day as when the season comes out, and this is going to be a spotlight card. So you have to rip open those precious keys or your tokens to try and get some Red Hulk, which I strongly recommend you do. And I am super, super excited about this card, Tuccrr. I hope you are too. I think he's going to be probably the best card of April. I mean, let's break it down for a second, right? 611 plus 4. They skip once, 615. They skip or they float energy twice. That's a 619. That is a big card. Those are like your big blobs. I mean, we saw Blob that got a nerf. This might even have to get a nerf too. It only takes 2 turns for him to become a 619, and that's incredible for a 6-drop. Name another 6-drop that can get that high besides, you know, your big cards. So I think he's going to be fantastic. I'm going to throw him in some Evo action, try to ramp out this Red Hulk early with a little bit of magic and Hope Summers. Not to mention, though, Hope Summers is super popular right now, so people have an extra amount of energy that may be floating around. Who knows? I think he's going to be absolutely incredible. I'll hold off my rating for now, but I think you guys might even know what it's going to be. Tucker, what are we saying about this one?
I think Red Hulk is going to be a good card. I think it's going to be interesting to see how people play around it with him coming out next week. I think your Red Hulk actually gets more value probably later on in the season because less people are playing Red Hulk. I think it's a good alternative to Infinite. It is a counter to High Evo, and the best thing about Red Hulk opposed to regular Hulk is you don't have to have High Evo in your deck as well. You don't have to have 2 cards in order to be able to get the evolved iteration of it. You just have to have Red Hulk. I think this could, if you want to maximize it, you might be able to use Sandman again and be able to play Red Hulk and then maybe Zola it or Taskmaster the Red Hulk too. So that's going to be interesting to see what's going on. It just, of course, increases the power creep we have in Snap right now where everyone's just dropping large power. But I think energy, like manipulation and energy, like, I don't know, sustainability, whatever, is what people are kind of like doing a lot right now anyways. So it's going to be interesting to see how people maximize or minimize their energy with this card. It's a very boring card because it's not like a very like fun interactive thing, but like it can truly solo you games, which is awesome. But I think Ramp is just in everywhere right now, so it's another great card to promote Hope Summers from this past season. So yeah, I agree there.
I agree with almost everything you had to say. It is super boring, but who needs fun when you're winning games, right? You know what I mean? Like this could literally solo you a late, and I think this is going to be a sneaky card. I think it's going to be super sneaky because what we talked about, that Hulk Evo will get +2 on that last turn when you play it down, right? This gets +4 if your opponent completely forget that they floated any energy. This gets +4. That can swing a lane absolutely entirely. I mean, +2 can, but +4 is big, and that's why I think he's gonna be super massive. There's no crazy parameters around this card. There's no restrictions. It's simply plug him into your deck. You don't need High Evo. I run Share Control every single day of my life. That's my favorite deck. And so if I don't have Zabu on 2, I'm skipping 1 and 2, right? And so that's already a 19 Hulk if you have it in your hand. I think it can go into like almost any deck, and I'm liking the Taskmaster. I'm liking Zola. I like what I hear with that. I think this is probably going to be the best card of the season by far. I'm going to give this a 4.75.
4.75. Yo, we make it. We got new numbers going on here. I do enjoy the card, and I'm a huge Haivu stan, so like I would float him in. But I think I might have to give it like a 3.5 or a 3.75. I just think like he does scale and he can win you a lane, but I'm also thinking like Shang-Chi is still so relevant right now. Like we're gonna have to do some Kyera stuff. Like it's gonna be interesting. And I feel like if you don't have him in your hand and you draw him on turn 6, it kind of feels bad.
True.
But like if it does hit 615 still is better than most of your 6-drops. So I can give you the benefit of the doubt there, and you don't have to float energy or float a turn to be able to play him like you would for Infinite. So I think there's some value there too.
Exactly. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, maybe I have to disagree with your rating, but nonetheless, I mean, yeah, this card's gonna be an absolute blast. I'm excited for it. And this variant, we got a little Ghost Rider, Red Hulk action. So great. This is gonna be great. I'm so excited for this card. This whole season is going to be amazing. But we got an interesting card coming up next, and here we go. All right, now on to a super interesting card. We have US Agent. This comes out the second week of the new season. The ability here, ongoing 4, 5, and 6 cost cards have -3 power. I don't really know how I'm feeling about this one. Tucker, let's start with you. How we doing?
So like I think it's very interesting. I think what's crazy is that like the ongoing effect is kind of like Man Thing, but like it's maybe better in Man Thing in a way because with Man Thing you're only really playing Man Thing with Zabu. But I think this enables you to kind of do some more stuff with Zoo. Maybe it's got some extra Cerebro value, but I don't really necessarily know what I'm going to be teching it in just yet. I think it's very interesting. I think I liked him more as a 2/6 with his other ability before, But I don't know. The read on this card is really, really weird. He's got an awesome variant, but I'm not entirely sure how I truly feel. I think it's kind of a meh card, and I really hope he's Series 4. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, we won't know until that dev video drops. But yeah, I mean, I completely feel the same way. I don't even know really what to say about this card. It just, I'm not saying lackluster. I do prefer the older version, the old Daedimon version of this card. But nonetheless, I mean, it's a lower cost man thing that affects the bigger cost cards, right? I just think in this meta right now, with the big, huge scalers that we have in Blob, your Orcas and all the whole Thanos things running out, I don't really see how this can get too much value. Of course, if you stack it in another big card with US Agent in that same lane, then maybe you have something cooking there, but you're also going to get hit with that -3 power unless you have that Luke Cage, of course. I am not too sure about this one. This one's I'm a little sketched about. But I do see some potential in your C3 with Valkyrie, right? I do see a little bit of potential there. Maybe that's where you slide him in to begin. Maybe people will find more and better lists soon in the future. I don't know. I don't really know what to say. I'm not too excited about this one. I think this one, hopefully, it's a Series 4. Let's hope. Get 3,000 tokens cheap, nice and out of the way. I'm going to probably going to give this a 2, maybe like another 2.5. But as we just talked about, this is a great week to open up your spotlight keys because Jeff is in rotation that week. So nonetheless, if you don't want US Agent, I would still rip. Everyone has to have Jeff, right? Tucker, what are we doing rating wise?
I think it's probably like a 2.5 for me as well. And I think especially going off, like piggybacking off you were saying, like if he is Series 5 as well, and you open him in spotlights and you open Jeff, like that's still like a solid hit because you're not having to spend 6K tokens if you want to maintain your collection. But I don't know. I'm just not super like hyped on the card, but who knows? Maybe the dev video will actually show us something, and it's like, yo, this card actually kind of slaps. But I don't know.
Yeah, again, I don't really. It's just out of all the cards, of all the cool and amazing, cool new cards that are coming out, this one's gonna be on the bottom of my list, right? It's just a little boring, but also I don't really see how it could be too good. But only time will tell. But we're gonna move on to another amazing card. I think it's gonna be insane. We got Red Guardian coming at you right now. Now on to Red Guardian. Oh man, oh boy, am I excited. So 3/3 Red Guardian comes out the 3rd week of the brand new season. That's gonna be the 16th of April. Now the ability here is interesting and awesome. On reveal, afflict the lowest power enemy card here with -2 power and remove its text. Now, there is a lot of massive, big cards that don't have a lot of power. To name a few, we got Deadpool, we got Iron Man, we got Dracula, Zabu. So many big, important cards that really you need to win the game that don't have a lot of power. And Red Guardian comes in there. How you doing? Knocking on your front door. I'm here. What's going on? Red Guardian is going to be an absolute blast. And I think he might even be a meta changer. First of all, it can plug right into Surfer, which is amazing. Another Surfer card. The Surfer's already eaten as it is right now, but this can plug right into Surfer, and you can take it out for almost anything. This ability is so good, especially, let's say they have a Miss Marvel in the lane by themselves in the middle. You throw down that Red Guardian real quick. Miss Marvel is gone, and that's only for 3 costs compared to your Enchant, which is 4 costs, can be Zabu'd. But man, this card is going to be seriously some fun. And not to mention, I'm also thinking a little bit of C3. We're seeing Cerebro a lot with these cards. I'm hype. I am hot on this one. Tucker, how are we feeling with this one?
I think this card is going to be absolutely fantastic. I think it is a crazy not mid-tier, like mid-game tech card that is so good. It works with Zabu or it works without Zabu. I think just like it's super flexible. And like you said, like an Enchantress might be able to knock out an entire lane, but you don't entirely have to knock out an entire lane. I think it's another great card to have with priority, something to snap into, especially with priority, opposed to snap after, which is just going to be fantastic. Some great variants, by the way. We got this one featured here. There's also a Luchador variant that's freaking awesome, too. Like, this card, like, this character is awesome. And I think just what you're going to be able to do with this card, you can also Grandmaster it. So, like, it's an on reveal, so it can pop off again. I just think, like, overall, you're going to be able to play this out in curve and have an immediate effect. Or you might be able to play it later game, depending on what matchup you're in. I think it's going to be a great card for ladder. It's going to be a great card for conquest. I think you can flex it into a whole lot of decks. I think you could add it into maybe even a Patriot deck to do some tech. You might be able to flex it into some decks to offset armor. Like, armor offsets some of these combos, too. Even if you don't hit a Deadpool, you can hit an X23, so your opponent can't ramp anymore. Like, you can hit a Mobius. Like, it's just going to be really cool. It's an on-reveal Echo. It's targeted. And I think one of the best, like, parts that we're not talking about is the afflicting the -2 power to a card can actually pop off and go crazy. because if that hits a Luke Cage,
there we go. What do you say? Yeah, I mean, 100%. I could not agree more with what you said. This card's going to be game-changing. And like I said, I think it can be plugged to almost any list. The actual disruptive element of this card is a game changer, a serious game changer. We really had never, I mean, Enchantress counters your Onslaught, your whole Tribunal list, but this knocks out an Iron Man, which kills Tribunal, absolutely puts it right into the ground. Dracula, we never had a serious counter for. This destroys Dracula. It hits it with -2 power, making it -1, and then it completely gets rid of the Dracula ability, which is a crazy counter. Like I said, we never really had anything to counter that before, like the Lady Deathstrike or something like that. This card is going to be amazing. I'm going with, like, I think I'm gonna have to go with another 4.75. That's the number tonight for me. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking 4.5, 4.75 solid. Another interaction that's sad, but also has huge value is Red Guardian can hit a Jeff, which could enable you to be able to do some Professor X stuff too, so they can't get into that lane.
Yeah.
So this card just has so many different like abilities. I want to find out more if it's ongoing power or if it's base power, because if it's base power, it can also knock out a Null. It can knock out a Darkhawk. It could do all sorts of other crazy stuff too, but I'm very excited.
Imagine someone throws a Null in a lane by itself, right? Setting up like a Zola. You have Prio, you Red Guardian, the Null. I mean, come on, get out of here. This card's gonna be a blast. I'm super hot. We're super hot on this. And this card, not only is gonna be super fantastic, but the next card we got might be one of my favorites of the season. I know I said it about every single one, but man, all these cards are fantastic. We got White Widow coming at you right now. All right, now this is another great one, another fantastic one. We got a little partnership between, we got White Widow, we got Black Widow. White Widow is finally coming out. It's going to come out April 23rd, 2024, the brand new season of Marvel Snap. The ability on reveal, add a Widow's Kiss to your opponent's side of this location. Now, Zhao and Tuck, what the heck's a Widow Kiss? Got you covered right here. This is a token card, right? So it's going to shoot over to your opponent's side of the board and it has an ongoing ability. The ability is, this has -4 power. Disable this ability if your side of this location is full, right? So Tucker, how are we feeling this one off rip?
So like, I think this card's gonna be really cool. I think this also is another card. I know I keep saying Grandmaster, but like you can get some Grandmaster value actually playing this out on 2. And then Grandmastering in middle 2, because that actually gives you a potential to clog 2 different lanes. Not clog, but necessarily have a card there that your opponent can't really do anything about with an ongoing -4 power. So I think that's really cool. I think as a 2-drop, this is an awesome card. That's why, like, with the like little OTA thing we had, she didn't get any power buffs because they knew she was going to be crazy. But I think it just is another great element to have in Junk, because Junk did lose Black Widow when she became a 3/3. So having her at a 2/2 now actually is so solid. I mean, it's not Black Widow, but it's like maybe even a little bit better than Black Widow, even though it just doesn't stop your card draw. But it's gonna be fun, really fun.
It doesn't stop the card draw, but I think this is like maybe even more disruptive than the actual Black Widow itself, because let's read it one more time. Disable this ability if your side of this location is full, right? So as long as you have 3 cards on your side, that -4 doesn't go anywhere, right? From the ability. So that's all fantastic all in itself. Not to mention, we're talking Junk right now, right? We're just talking Junk. This is just another element, another card you can get out there to get more stuff into your opponent's side of the board. This is going to go great with Debris. It's going to go great with the Goblins. Anything that can just, Sentry. Anything that can just get sent over. Only way, a super easy way to beat your opponent is by not letting them play the cards where they want to play them. And so we have this kind of card. We have Cannonball, Annihilate, Sentry. Junk has been getting junkified. I mean, they've been getting all the junk in the world. And this is just another card in that list. And I'm super excited. I'm going to plug it right into some Galactus action in the beginning. Going to check it out, a little bit of G-Man action. I'm excited. I think it's going to be great. And I think it might be better than Black Widow. I think a lot of people would choose the 2 cost over the 3 cost Black Widow, only because the -4 is fantastic. I think a lot more important than stopping the draw. Rating wise, I'll give it like a 3.5. Like an average, normal 3.5. I'm excited. I think it's good. Plug it right in the Junk. I'm digging it. What are you thinking?
I think 3.5 is good. And I think one of the main things, like with the Junk list, normally you do not maybe play in a card on 2 unless it's maybe Jeff. So it gives you another card to be able to just play out on 2 to get some value there as well. And I guess if you don't actually hit your Widow's Bite 2, that's another token on your side of the board if you are running Mockingbird. So you get some value there too. And I think the Clog interaction, if you wanted to play her on 3, you play Titania first and then play her, and then your opponent has 2 slots filled up on their side of the board. But yeah, I think it's going to be fun. I think a 3.5, 3.75 is pretty solid for her.
Yeah, I'm excited. This would be, man, this whole entire month is just filled with amazing cards. I'm excited. But this one, and I know I've been sounding like super hyped for all of these. Valentina is coming out next. We got a good one right here coming up for you right now. Now, on to the last card of the season. This is the last card of April coming out. This comes out on the 30th of April. And this one is a banger as well. Just because it's last doesn't mean it's not amazing. We got Valentina. On reveal, add a random 6-cost card to your hand, give it -2 cost and -3 power, right? So, off rip, we think like we get Hella, right? That's a 4-cost Hella that has -3 power, so it's a 4/3. Not that good. But we get a blob or something like that, or we get like an Orca, these bigger statted cards. The -3 power really doesn't mean anything. So, we throw Valentina into Loki. We can take out Maria Hill or something like that, just another 2 cost. We now have a -3 cost 6-drop because we have Quinjet down. So it's a 3-cost 6-drop that has -3 power, but not to mention we can also throw in Luke Cage to completely disregard that -3 power. This card is fantastic. Another amazing Loki card. Simply can slide right into there. It has some collector benefits as well. We have, like, you can pair it with the Agent Coulson, the Nick Fury, the Agent 13. So many different combinations when it comes to Valentina. Another fantastic card. Anyone who gets a 3-cost 6-drop, you have to ramp that out early, get out of town. I mean, yeah, you get a Destroyer or something like that. Totally feels terrible, right? But depending on locations or anything like that, maybe they have an armor down or something like that, this card is going to be super good. And the RNG element, not only is it going to be a little wild, but it's just going to be super fun. I'm excited with Valentina. Variant's great. Tucker, what are we saying?
So, like, I think Loki is what everyone thinks of immediately. They think of Loki, they think of Collector. I'm gonna throw a couple darts, okay? So you can actually use this card in Hella to enable you to have another 6-drop if you do get your MODOK down a little bit later. And then you can also use this in Tribunal. Because if you have another 6-drop with a lot of power, you're playing that into Tribunal anyways to have more power across the board. Maybe you don't get your Tribunal at all. But I'm thinking there's a couple different ways you can play it. The RNG element, of course, is a huge factor. But I'm thinking any of these cards where you're slamming down big cards anyways, you could maybe even play it in Big Dumb Idiots. You're not going to hit all the time. But yeah, shout out Goody T. You're not gonna play it all, like you're not gonna get like the right 6-drop all the time. But of course, that's like the RNG aspect, anyways. That's why you play Iron Lad. That's why you play Jubilee. But I think there's a lot of potential wrapped up in a 2-drop that can be either really big. Like it's just like you're high rolling more often, I feel like, than you're low rolling, especially with a Quinjet 2, because you can drop that down on 3 before Mobius comes out. But it's gonna be very excited. This card is probably borderline busted. Just because of how high the floor is, because it's not a low floor. It's a high floor and it's a high ceiling. So it's going to be awesome just to see what you can do.
Because it's always a 6-drop, right? And now we have, not only we get that -2, but we throw it into Quinjet Loki. And your ideas were fantastic. I mean, think about any of those. But now it's a 3-cost 6-drop. What? Like that doesn't, I mean, that's amazing. Who doesn't want that? I mean, you fill up the raft, you get a 3-cost 6-drop. This one gives you a 3-cost. I mean, absolutely just fantastic. I think this card's gonna be great. So many different synergies. And not to mention, you run it in any deck you want. You put it in any deck you want. You put this down, you get a 4-cost Goliath. Who doesn't want that, right? I mean, seriously, there are so many 6-drops. The 6-drops are the most powerful and the biggest card in the games. Usually, how you swing games late on the game. So, obviously, this card is going to be fantastic. I am hype on it. The RNG element is different than like a Morph. Morph, we don't know, right? Like, it could be the best card. It could be the worst card, right? We just never know. But this one, we know we're getting a guaranteed 6-drop that has only -3 power, can be corrected, and it has less cost. Who doesn't want that? This card's going to be great. I'm excited. It's a bad thing that it's coming out on the 30th. I wish it was coming out earlier. But nonetheless, I'm going to give this one, let's go with a 4 flat. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 flat. I think it's going to be fantastic. But, you know, of course, there is a little element of RNG in there. So, I mean, if you get an Ultron, maybe, you know, you play it last or something like that. So you could, you know, there's a chance you get a little messed up. But nonetheless, I think it's still going to be fantastic. What are we doing rating-wise with you?
I think, so, like, I agree. I like the 4. But I like the 4/5 just because your opponent doesn't know what 6-drop you got. So you had that level of surprise to be able to play later on in the game. You don't have to play it early. So your opponent doesn't know, does he have the right combo or did he just brick? Which I think is going to be really interesting. Of course, the RNG element gets a little bit crazy, but I think it's a super fun card and has the potential to be a super competitive card.
Oh, yeah, 10,000%. That is Valentina. As a matter of fact, that is all of the new cards coming to Marvel Snap in the month of April. Tucker, another big thank you for coming on to the channel. It always means the world. The 3rd installment. So, comment down below. We need a cool name for the Zal and Tucker special we do every new season. Okay, matter of fact, let's double down the stakes here, right? If you send a cool name down in the comments and we pick your comment, I personally will give you a season pass to the brand new season of Marvel Snap in April. So leave your, if you got this far, leave your comments down below for a cool name to this show, and you could win a season pass. But with that being said, Tuccrr, where can we find you on social?
You guys can follow me on all socials: Twitch, Twitter, X, YouTube, TikTok under Tuccrr, TUCCRR. Once again, thank you so much, Zal, for having me. These are always freaking fantastic. But yeah, this was a blast, bro. The third installment. You'll love to see it.
Tuccrr is seriously one of the most kind and genuine human beings I've ever in my life. I mean, seriously, if you guys don't watch his streams, you don't watch his videos, you are missing out on some incredible content. Not only you're missing out on some quality gameplay, unique brews, and overall just an amazing, really good friend. So with that being said, Tuccrr, you know what we do here. On the count of 3, we're going to snap out. Ready? 3, 2, 1, snap out.
Let's go.